Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Chopra. Union Minister Sukanta Majumdar has visited the Hindu refugee camp in Malda, West Bengal. About 400 Hindus have been forced to leave their homes along with their belongings, cross the Ganga River and flee the violence in Murshidabad. When NewsX spoke to the people who have fled, the families told us the horrors that they had to face, how police told them that things have been brought under control and to go back home, and how TMC councillors allegedly stood at their homes and temples while they were torched. Despite over 200 arrests made so far, the Hindu families have refused to return due to the fear of being attacked once again. Now we're being joined by a special panel today. We are being joined by Muslim voices who will be speaking about the Waqf Act and the Murshidabad situation, understanding from their point of view and asking the question, what really needs to be done for these families, what needs to be done about the situation in Murshidabad. I'm going to begin this conversation with Mr. Ahmed Ayaz, political analyst who joins me on the broadcast. Mr. Ayaz, I want to begin by understanding from you, what really is it about the Waqf Act which is triggering violence in West Bengal, in your assessment?
Yeah, of course, it starts with the Waqf amendments. We don't know exactly as to what has happened there in Murshidabad. It could be part of politics also, because the protests and the anger has been shown throughout the country, everywhere, even in Tamil Nadu Assembly also they have spoken against it, but there was no violence as such anywhere. Of course, people protest. Well, they are within the right to protest. They have done it or they are doing it. But as long as violence is concerned, it's of course unfortunate, and the government there in the West Bengal would be better in a position to explain as to why and what has happened there.
Okay, I'll rephrase the questions. I'm not trying to understand from you why exactly the violence took place. Of course, you were not there, you don't know. But I'm trying to understand, maybe from conversations that you're having with other people or bits of information that you're picking up personally, what is it about the Waqf Act, or what misinformation about the Waqf Act is being spread, which you think is potentially causing people to get so triggered that they would cause a riot to the point that people have to pack up their bags and leave their homes?
No, there is no misinformation. It's very clear. One is besides being an interference in the religious affairs, which is of course against the constitution. Well, we agree that there have been amendments carried, in the Waqf Act even earlier also. But the amendments which were done in the past were quite acceptable to the people, as such there was no issue. Now that whatever the amendments are done, those are possibly done on three counts. One, that it's mismanagement, there's a corruption, and then we will use the property for the Muslim welfare. I think mainly these are 2-3 issues coming up. And then when this is coming from the government, particularly from the BJP, there are issues. One, that if it's a matter of, there's a merit. One, that if it is a matter of corruption, then we can't see corruption only in the Waqf boards, agreeing that there may be something wrong. We don't deny that there is not a mismanagement or there may not be corruption, agreeing to that. But it's not that you can see only the corruption and the mismanagement only Waqf boards. It is the reflection of the total system. Tell me even one department or an organization or an institution where we say that it is free of corruption or there are no incidents of mismanagement. It's all there. So then, if we mean to see that with these amendments we are going to uplift or do something better for the backward Muslims, then the question arises, does the government depend only on the trust to this Waqf board to uplift the Muslims? Is it not that the responsibility of the government otherwise? presuming there are no boards or such kind of
Yes.
institutions with the non-Muslims, does that mean that the government will not take care of them? Government is otherwise supposed to take care of them. More so, if we talk of corruption and mismanagement, then in these boards there are administrative officers, chief
Yes.
executive
Yes.
officers
But Mr. Ayaz,
nominated by the government.
yes, Mr. Ayaz, what I'm trying to understand is, does that really justify somewhere what has happened in Murshidabad?
Absolutely not. What has happened in Murshidabad is not justified. It's not only me, but even Islam does not justify. Islam does not believe in violence. But this is all circumstantial. What has happened there, what politics has played, that's better known, would be known locally. And what has happened, what has gone wrong, is it a conspiracy to see that the government is put to the trouble, or something really, something has gone wrong. But I don't see that as a protest, as a normal protest. There is something wrong in it. Well, there has definitely something gone wrong. Maybe a politics played, that again has to be seen, that need to be seen properly. But as a Muslim, nobody would appreciate or nobody will support any kind of violence. Well, there is a right to protest, and people should protest. People are protesting. They don't feel good with it. It has not gone down good down the line. Whatever amendments are carried out, well, people can show their resentment or whatever disagreement on this, as has been done last time also with the farmers bill. People have a right to do it, and the people are the supreme in the democracy. Well, all these things do happen, but particularly what has happened, the violence has taken place in Murshidabad, which has unfortunately taken few lives also, and then disturbed the total, the peace there. I think that need to be looked into as to what has gone wrong there. And to me, the better would be the local administration, the government, which can speak better on the issue, because that being a local issue. But when we see overall, well, we protest, anybody protests, violence is not permissible. However, the circumstances, what has happened there, that need to be seen properly.
But Mr. Ayaz, at the same time, why is it that there is no fear of the law, it seems? That there are some sort of playbooks that are being used to instigate violence, to instigate riots, but it seems as though there is no fear of the law, even amongst people of, say, there have to be some people of the Muslim community that were involved in instigating one part of the riots, right? So why is it that there is no fear of the law left anymore, when people have been caught through videos that have circulated, CCTV footage? So you know that there is a very good chance of you getting arrested over doing this, and we're playing out visuals of the riots that took place, of the stone pelting that has happened. So why do you think that this culture of lawlessness or lack of fear of law has become so common? What's happened?
I can say with certainty, it won't be a common Muslim. It won't be a Molana, it won't be a preacher who is really not connected with any political party. I'm sure about that. It must be definitely the people who are connected with some politics, some kind of politics. Otherwise, nobody will do it. Muslims, I'm sure, will not do it, because they mean protection of their rights. They will do, but they never mean that they'll have to resort to the violence, burn something, or break something, or beat something. There's no point in that, because that will harm them. So people know it. Muslims particularly who are protesting, they know it. It will be harmful for them. And maybe some foul play, maybe some conspiracy, maybe some politics being played. It looks to be that. I don't think there is anything beyond that. But as Muslims, you can see that it has happened everywhere. People are protesting. You must have seen on the Friday the other day, there were protests throughout during Nimaz time and everywhere. But there are no reports of violence anywhere. People will not. People know it. Muslims know it for certain. If they resort to the violence anywhere, it harms to their protest. It harms their demand. It harms to their cause on Waqf board.
Okay.
So they won't resort. And why should they do it? It is definitely some people who are somewhere involved in the politics. Somebody has played somewhere to see that the things are disturbed. It must be like that. I'm sure if you see very sincere and honest, if the investigations are conducted, I'm sure that this will come to the fore.
Okay, Mr. Yaz, do you think Muslim leaders, um, community leaders or political leaders and others should at this point in time come out and condemn the violence that has taken place in Murshidabad? And what is it that needs to be done to recreate the atmosphere of
Sure,
calm and trust?
sure. Everybody should come. I'm telling you, sitting here, though I'm not in contact with anybody. Condemn it on everybody's behalf. I don't know. I don't think anybody should not condemn it. Why should not the political leaders also condemn? They also should equally condemn it and come and see that this is not done. I'm sure it is nothing like Muslims doing it in support of their cause. I'm sure there must be some politics. It has not happened anywhere where our protests have taken other than Murshidabad. It has happened because possibly there's a non-BJP government. That also could be a reason. A lot many things could be there. I won't get into that, but certainly it looks to be some kind of politics being played there to see that the things are disturbed. Otherwise, there's no reason for getting into the violence. Well, there's a reason to protest, but not for the violence. Absolutely not. So if you say that, I again condemn it. I condemn it rather on behalf of everybody. I condemn the violence and feel bad of anybody having got killed in the process. It's very a sad state of affairs, and nobody would like it. No human being will like it. No Muslim will like it. No Islam does permit about it. Very clear about it.
Okay, Mr. Ahmed Ayaz, thank you so much for joining us on NewsX. On that note, I want to bring in Major Mohammad Ali Shah into the conversation as well. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, is it fair to squarely blame politics for what has happened in Murshidabad?
Right, I totally concur with Mr. Ayaz that, a simple common Muslim, I don't think he would have indulged in this violence. It's the design of some people who are playing politics, who are into some nefarious activities. Because if you think logically, who is going to be at the receiving end? Who is going to be at a loss from this? Obviously, the common Muslim. So, secondly, I condemn the violence wholeheartedly, harm and throng. That any violence anywhere from any community is not permissible. So, thirdly, I say protesting is a fundamental right, no doubt. But peaceful protest. Go ahead. If you are not convinced about something, go ahead and do a peaceful demonstration, do a peaceful protest. But violence, arson, no, not permissible. Thirdly, fourthly, I would say there's much ado about nothing, I would say. Sometimes it becomes a norm to whatever the government's policies are to protest against them. पहले तो सोच तो लो, समझ लो. First, educate yourself, see, understand what you are standing against, what you are standing for. What are the pros, what are the cons? So, but any violence, any arson needs to be condemned in the highest order. Now, Devika, if you come to think of it logically, as you asked Mr. Ahmed Ayaz Saab, that these people knew that they would get arrested. They knew that they could be on the buying end, but yet they went ahead and did that. My sister, my real sister, is a very respectable politician from West Bengal, Sarah Shah Halim, and most of the people know her. Now, she is against violent protest herself. She says no, any form of violence in a protest will work against the demonstration the cause that you have taken up for. Firstly, I don't think that it's a cause that these people, the arsoners, the protesters, people who indulge in violence, they have come. Now, I am a Muslim. I am a very proud Muslim, but I'm an Indian before I'm a Muslim. I feel that the national interest should always come first, always and every time. irrespective. And so the very fact that I see myself as an Indian, instead of seeing myself as a Muslim, I see myself as an Indian, and I'm very proud to be an Indian. Now, I come from the army background. In the defense forces, it's a very, very secular organization. Now, there's a square in my training center where where I got commissioned, the artillery center in Nasik, where on one square, there is a mandir, a temple, there's a mosque, there's a gurdwara, there's a church on one square, and all four of them coexist together very well. The vibration from each prayer house goes to the other prayer house in a very positive manner. And we have to learn to respect each other's religion. So my appeal to everyone, irrespective of whichever religion you belong to, you respect the other religion, give them their love, the win over people. As a Muslim, if I respect the other communities will respect me. Similarly, other communities, if they show us love, respect, other communities will show us love and respect. In the army, I was told on Eid, they would wish me as Jai Hind Saab or Ram Ram Saab, Eid Mubarak. That was a greeting that I used to get. Ram Ram Saab, Eid Mubarak. What can be more beautiful than that?
Okay.
So, we have to come together to learn to function. And I would quickly conclude by saying, we are a salad bowl nation. We are not a melting pot. I am quoting from General Shah's book, The Sarkari Musliman, where he says, we are a salad bowl nation. These are 5 fingers of a fist. If one finger gets fractured, we cannot clench the fist. Where Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, Parsis, every Buddhist, every religion, Jains, everyone coexist together. When we clench the fist, it becomes power. So we should keep the secular ethos of India alive. It's everyone's responsibility.
Okay, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, you also mentioned that if in such instances, it usually will be the Muslim who wants to do a peaceful protest, which is their right, and they are the ones who are most impacted. But as for the situation on the ground, it's several Hindu families that have had to flee from their homes. What do you say about that situation?
It's very sorry if Hindu families would have had to flee from their homes. It's very sad and very sorry, and I am feeling very bad about that. So the very fact of what do I have to say? I say learn to respect each other's religion. In fact, only I have seen this kind of what I saw in Bangladesh recently is highly condemnable, reprehensible, and the international community should make a big noise about what's happening in Bangladesh. India should not beat any state. This TMC government, the TMC goons should realize the fact, I'm talking about the goons, not the entire government. The goons should realize the fact that by an arson, by anything like this, they defame the entire political party, the entire community, the entire area, the entire state, the entire region. So one has to be extremely careful, cautious, on the guard, and learn to give love and respect to each other.
At the same time, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, what do you think can be done at this point in time to somewhere recreate or restore a semblance of peace and trust amongst the communities?
What can be done? We can have more interfaith dialogues the way we have been having. Them. We need to understand each other's community. If we do not understand the other community, we will always live in that hate, disgrunt. For example, I'll give you a small example. There is a lot of hate which comes on social media, on WhatsApp groups and such things. By exiting a WhatsApp group, is that the answer? No. The escapist methodology will not work here. And by countering them in a harsh way, no. Again, you have to make people understand that anyone's religion, be it Hindu, be it Muslim, be it any religion, be it Sikh, be it Christian, any religion does not stand for violence, does not stand for destructive activities, does not stand for anything negative. One has to understand that, one has to analyze it, and when one learns to respect that, only then it will come from within. Otherwise, we can force, we can get anyone by the danda that no, you keep quiet, keep shut, but the feeling would remain. We have to convince them. We have to make them believe it instead of forcing it down the throats, Devika.
At the same time, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, what do you think can be done at this point in time to somewhere recreate or restore a semblance of peace and trust amongst the communities? At the same time, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, why do you think there is such an uproar vis-a-vis the Waqf amendment? Because as far as the government's research is concerned, they do say that there are several Muslim families and smaller communities that have been impacted by some of the provisions of the earlier Waqf Act, which allowed confiscation of land. So there are several Muslims that continue to fight for their homes against the Waqf board in courts as well. So why is it that there is such silence and just a larger lack of understanding as to what is happening? And why do you think the Muslim leaders don't want to come out and really speak openly about the Waqf Act and their understanding of it, and perhaps ask questions of the government as and when required?
Okay, Devika, that's a very, very good question. Now, I always feel that, it's a matter of pure miscommunication over here. I will tell you how. You see where people have protested against the government. You see the anti-CA, NCR, and NPR, anti-CA bill which became an act. You see the Agniveer scheme. You see the farmers' protest. You see the Waqf board, the Waqf Act. There have been protests. Now the government has not been able to come forward and communicate to the people that don't protest. Listen to what we are saying. As per the government, there has not been an official formal, I don't see where you put balm, but they say it is for the favor of the Muslims, not against them, this act. And I quite believe it. I say, okay, let's wait, let's give peace a chance. Let's wait to see what unfolds. Now, people straight away, they're trigger happy, they want to jump the gun, they want to protest against it. Wait and see, wait and watch. Now, the very fact is there's rumor mongering, there's fear mongering. There are people coming with stories that, oh, the government is going to eat up your land. I don't think there's going to be anything of that sort. I think the Waqf board also, in a lot of ways, is responsible for it, because had we built schools, colleges, hospitals, then I don't think anybody would have objected to it. Now the very fact that there are objections, because even the Waqf board, somewhere or the other, the Waqf land has been misused. If we say it's all hunky-dory, it's all clear, there's no problem at all, we would be fooling our own selves. We have to do a self-introspection. We have to say, okay, why was it? Because so far, I'll give us for example, so far the Waqf land was the Waqf board was an autonomous body. The moment you make it under the government, because the Waqf land would be they would be under the DM of that particular district, which means directly or indirectly, obviously, it will be under the government. So people felt that they've lost their autonomy. So now, when we have to understand, sit peacefully, indulge in a dialogue, because communicating is very important in any relationship, Devika. Be it in a relationship, be it anywhere, communication and trust. These are two very, very important factors which are the base of a relationship. It can be between two communities, it can be a relationship between two friends, it can be in any relationship for that matter. So that communication and that trust factor has to be built by dialogue, by actually understanding each other, Devika.
Okay, all right. I'd like to now also bring into the conversation Mr. M.J. Khan, Chairman of the ICFA. Mr. M.J. Khan, in your perspective, what is it that the government must do immediately to rebuild the lost trust in Murshidabad and the surrounding areas?
Thank you, Devika. Ideally, government should have acted before, which means before the Waqf Act was passed, large-scale communications should have preceded. Any major policy change, the government is bound in a democracy to communicate with the people who are likely to be affected, so that minimize or eliminate the scope for either misinformation or disinformation. So this has not happened. The same thing was in the farmers' protest. The acts that were going to affect the farmers were one who were never consulted before the bills were passed. The consultation were with the business chambers. So here also, this was a major issue, because Muslim community looks at Waqf properties as something, a kind of capital, very big capital available with it, which can be commercialized, which can benefit poors and all. So there was a lot of scope and potentially very explosive situation to be created. This government needed to comprehend before even the discussion in parliament started. So that has not happened. There's a trust deficit and there is a communication deficit. Put together, that makes a very dangerous cocktail. So a issue as serious as the Waqf, without any communication or consultation or the committee being taken into confidence, being brought in the parliament, so it was a discussion in the political party. So this the issue is not a religious issue at all. So I would disagree a little with the good friend Major Shah, who otherwise speaks so well. Even today he spoke. It's not a interfaith dialogue. It's not an issue between the communities. It is purely issue which has to be dealt now with the by the government, either the state government now, as far as the post-right actions are required. And
You're right, sir. You're right about that.
It is the common people who are participating. Again, I would disagree. It's not the political people who are. They may have instigated, but ultimately the participation of large number of people, they are the common people. They are gullible to be exploited for their sentiments. So that is there. So now what can be done is that there should be more clarity by the central government that the business rules are yet to be made. So Act has been passed, but the rules are to be framed. So whatever the apprehensions or the genuine concern that can be partly addressed, because rules cannot deviate completely from the Act provisions, but within that there is scope that the CA rules were formulated, so within broader ambit of the Act, but there is some flexibility of, because ultimately the implementation is guided by the rules. So that is where one thing that central government can do is the state government also need to set, its house in order, be little more prepared and communicate little more clearly that this thing is not to be tolerated.
Mr. Khan, why do you think that the state government is then silent or at least condemning the violence that has taken place? We've seen ministers of the state government of the TMC once again giving it a political spin. But why is it that they shy away from condemning purely violence that has been caught on cameras?
Devika, let us be honest, that country is not headed in the right direction. The pursued political protection or the immunity that is giving the leeway to miscreants to create the problems is happening state after state. For example, if there is an issue in Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh or any state governed by the BJP, the people who take up the cause of, let's say, dear to right wing, they will have pursued protection and immunity. So similarly, in West Bengal, the people who are doing this, they perceived to be some kind of protection and immunity by the state government. And the state government also will be more sensitive in handling the committed voters. So let's put it like this. So this is two wrongs don't make one right, but wrongs are happening continuously. So I believe that state government, for example, recently Ram Navami, whatever violence took place, most of the people got the immunity. So that actually states have to give clear signals, irrespective of the political affiliation. The violence is violence. It has to be treated that way. The crimes are crimes, so criminals have to be dealt with that way. So each state government, irrespective of the writers' political affiliations, have to be dealt as per the provisions of the law.
And Mr. M.J. Khan, lastly, I'd like to understand from your perspective, why do you think then Muslim leaders as well, or community leaders, there could be political leaders, why do they shy away also from coming out and condemning such type of violence, or at least asking for peace to prevail?
No, that I agree, Devika, that one, that the real leadership is missing. Most of the political leaders, Muslim leaders that you are saying, they are actually leaders of their respective political parties. There is no Muslim leadership. Often we see this term being coined, there is no Muslim leadership. So these are the leaders of their political parties will actually act and speak what suits to their political party. So this is one that needs to be clarified. I would also agree that a lot of reforms within the Muslim community need to be carried out, and particularly on the issues as sensitive as this, why the government has its own responsibility. The Muslim community, educated ones like three of us are here, also need to carry that responsibility of educating the community objectively what is good and what is not good. For example, in the entire act, everything cannot be bad and everything cannot be good. There can be, how do you look at it? There can be some concerns from both perspectives. So whether there is a responsible intellectual leadership of the Muslim community, as of now it is not. Me and Major Shah had initiated something 4 years back that worked wonderfully well. I think some kind of reception of that to carry forward the responsibility of educating the people if there is a chance of getting misguided. That has to be done at least. Right, Devika? So
okay, all right. With that, I thank all of our panelists. Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, BJP Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament, is also joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Trivedi, I begin by asking you, sir, why do you think there is opposition to the Waqf Amendment Act in West Bengal?
केंद्र सरकार ने समस्त संवैधानिक प्रक्रियाओं को विधिवत पूर्ण करने के बाद यह कानून बनाया है। यदि कोई भी राज्य सरकार यह कहती है कि वो केंद्र के कानून को नहीं मानेगी, तो आज बाबा साहब अंबेडकर की जन्म जयंती पर मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि बाबा साहब के संविधान का खुलेआम अपमान है, क्योंकि 73वें और 74वें संविधान संशोधन के बाद भारत में 3 स्टेट की स्तर की सरकारें हैं, केंद्र, राज्य और जिला, तीनों की शक्तियां निर्धारित हैं। कोई जिला पंचायत अपने राज्य की विधानसभा के कानून को मानने से मना नहीं कर सकती, उसी प्रकार कोई राज्य सरकार केंद्र के कानून को मानने से मना नहीं कर सकती। यदि कोई ये कहता है तो इसका मतलब वो संविधान का सीधे अपमान कर रहा है और ऐसे लोगों के हाथ में रहने से संविधान खतरे में है। और इतना ही नहीं, आज तो झारखंड के एक मंत्री ये भी बोल दिए कि उनके लिए तो शरिया संविधान से ऊपर है। तो हमें तो जवाब चाहिए इंडी गठबंधन के लोगों से। आज बाबा साहब की जयंती के दिन अगर कोई ये कहता है कि उसकी नजर में शरिया बाबा साहब के संविधान से ऊपर है, तो इसका अर्थ यह हो गया कि आज के दिन उनकी इतना बड़ा अपमान किया जा रहा है। हमें कांग्रेस से सीधा जवाब चाहिए, शरिया ऊपर है या संविधान ऊपर है? और जवाब नहीं, फिर कार्रवाई दिखनी चाहिए कि जिसने ये कहा है उसके ऊपर क्या कार्रवाई होती है। इससे दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाएगा कि ये लोग जो कहते हैं कि संविधान खतरे में है, ये संविधान को जेब में रखते हैं और जरूरत पड़ने पे कट्टरपंथी ताकतों की जेब में रख देते हैं, मगर प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हमारी सरकार संविधान को हृदय में रखती है।
ओके, सुधांशु जी, आपसे ये भी समझना चाहेंगे कि एक हमारे रिपोर्टर्स ने भी बात करी है, हमने खुद भी बात करी है, देयर इज एन ऑनगोइंग एक्सोडस ऑफ हिंदूज दैट इज टेकिंग प्लेस फ्रॉम मुर्शिदाबाद टू नेबरिंग डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स। आपका क्या कहना है इस पे?
पश्चिम बंगाल में जो हिंसा का दुर्दांत तांडव दिखाई पड़ रहा है वो बहुत दुखद है। इसके बाद भी तृणमूल कांग्रेस की सरकार उपद्रवियों पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं कर पा रही है। मुझे लगता है कि इसमें आज तृणमूल सरकार ममता बनर्जी जी विवश हो गई है, क्योंकि उन्होंने इन उपद्रवीय तत्वों को इतना सर चढ़ा रखा है, इस प्रकार के आतंक फैलाने वाले हिंसक तत्वों को इतना सर चढ़ा रखा है कि अब उन्होंने पश्चिम बंगाल की व्यवस्था को टेक ओवर कर लिया है। तो अब तृणमूल कांग्रेस की सरकार चाहे भी तो कुछ नहीं कर सकती है। इसलिए इस सरकार का रहना अब पश्चिम बंगाल के शांति प्रिय लोगों के लिए और हिंदू समाज के लोगों के लिए एक अभिशाप के समान हो गया है।
सुधांशु जी, उसी टॉपिक पर आपसे ये भी समझना चाहेंगे कि the violence we've seen has only abated after the intervention by central forces. What do you think Mamata Banerjee's reaction here really reflects?
मुझे लगता है जब वो इस प्रकार की बात कहती हैं तो पिछले चुनाव में उनके रणनीतिकार भी बोले थे कि उनकी तो गिनती 30% से शुरू होती है। मेरा मानना है 30% जनसंख्या हो या 40% हो, आप किस प्रकार से उसे राष्ट्र की मुख्य धारा में लाने का प्रयास कर सकते हैं, यह प्रयास होना चाहिए, ना कि राष्ट्र की धारा को ध्वस्त करने का प्रयास। इसलिए ममता बनर्जी जो कर रही हैं, इसका मतलब वो एक प्रकार से स्वीकार कर रही हैं कि वो अब इन शक्तियों के हाथ की खिलौना मात्र बन गई हैं और वो इनके ऊपर किसी भी प्रकार का नियंत्रण लाने में अक्षम हैं, क्योंकि उन्होंने खुद ही इस जिन्न को बोतल से बाहर किया है।
Okay, Sudhanshu ji, I'd also like to understand Is violence being deliberately instigated in West Bengal, as has been said by many people?
अब ये चीजें जांच के द्वारा सामने आएंगी, परंतु प्रथम दृष्टया जो रिपोर्ट आ रही है, जैसा हमारे प्रदेश अध्यक्ष सुकांतो मजूमदार जी ने, हमारे नेता प्रतिपक्ष शुभेंदु अधिकारी जी ने कहा है, तो उन लोगों के वक्तव्यों में तो बहुत स्पष्ट रूप से कहा गया है कि यह सारी बातें जो हो रही हैं ये वहां की सरकार की छत्रछाया में हो रही हैं। शुभेंदु अधिकारी जी ने तो बताया कि पुलिस वालों के साथ इतनी मारपीट हुई, पुलिस वाले छोड़ के चले गए। अब इतना साहस किसी जगह पर किसी भी तबके का कैसे हो सकता है कि पुलिस वाले भाग जाएं और उसके बाद उस पर कार्रवाई ना हो? तो इस सवाल का जवाब देश की जनता पूछ रही है और जवाब ममता जी को देना है।
All right, Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, thank you so much for joining us on NewsX with your perspective on the Murshidabad violence. With that, viewers, we sip into a very quick break.